I'll start. I'm going to talk on behalf of my CTO slides as well. But hey, guys, I'm Abi. This is Igor here. He's our blockchain engineer. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of a rundown on why we're here, why we're doing this ETHGlobal Hackathon. Alex, perfect. So that is Alex, our CTO. Alex, you want to get right started?
Yeah, for sure.
Go for it.
Did you just do the intro so far?
Just a little bit of an
intro. All right,
yeah.
awesome. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, not Zerion.
Yeah, I'm sorry for being a bit late. So guys, who do you know about Zerion already? Just like for me to know where to get started.
Yeah, I just asked.
Never heard. Okay, perfect. Then I'll start from the start, I guess. So basically, we started long back analyzing on-chain data, indexing all the stuff in the EVM chains, and we always tried to make sense of what's going on-chain for the users, understanding their transactions, understanding their positions, portfolios, etc. And then later, we launched the wallet with the main premise to build the wallet that actually can tell you as a user like all the assets that you own on chain, as well as to see all the actions that you've done in the past. And unfortunately, the competition at the time couldn't really display that data, so we just believed that will bring the UX of using the wallet to the next level. So our company, since the very beginning, have been focused a lot on bringing the best possible UX to the end users. That's how we ended up in the wallet space. And now, oh, all right, yes. Is it recorded again? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then we decided how do we keep improving the UX, because we believe we've done pretty much everything we could on the interface level, and that's why we decided that the next meaningful step for us will be to actually launch our own rollup, because we truly believe that by controlling the settlement layer as well, we will be able to unlock certain UX experiences that are just simply not possible otherwise. And we just decided that our goal is going to be to make being on chain enjoyable and rewarding, and for everyone involved in that journey. And we identified 3 groups, so the dApp developers, people who create stuff, creators who produce content using dApps that other developers build, and of course the end users who benefit from using all of that. And we wanted to make it enjoyable for all the involved parties to be there. And we've thought a lot about what are the biggest frictions in the space right now, and we believe that the first issue that we want to tackle is the gas fees. And there are multiple reasons why we believe that's the time to do that. I guess one, gas fees are going down for the past couple of years or so, especially with the proto-dunk sharding in Ethereum and additional block space. It's getting cheaper and cheaper to execute transactions, so the actual net cost of a single transaction is going down. So it's not even about the price itself, but it's rather about the friction of paying for every click of the button that you need to perform in the wallet. And we figured out that since we have our users, we know how to monetize them, there's no reason for us to force them to pay this couple of cents for every button they press on the app. And that's why the first problem that we are trying to solve by introducing Zero is making it a zero gas experience for the end users, which basically means for all the Zerion wallet users who interact on the Zero rollup, it's going to be a completely gasless experience, completely free experience, and I guess the most exciting part, that it's not requiring any changes on the dApp side as well. And I think Igor later is going to explain a little bit more of technicalities of how we were able to achieve that, but I'll just briefly say that it's only possible thanks to the ZK stack developed by the Matter Labs team, and ZK Sync Era is one currently and only production chain that runs on top of that stack. And it's EVM compatible, which is amazing. Any dApp built for any EVM chain can be easily deployed and used there. And they also have native account abstraction, which means that they don't have EOAs. Every wallet is a smart contract, which opens up plenty of cool UX opportunities that we as a company planning to leverage thanks to the possibilities of the stack. And final thing I want to mention before we dive into more technical stuff is the on-chain DNA. And the reason it's important, because usually when you say free transactions for everyone, people start thinking about spam. And that's historically been a big problem in the space. I don't know if some of you remember Binance Smart Chain that was super cheap, the cheapest chain at the time, and it was full of spam. It didn't have any or hardly any meaningful activity, but it was so much advertisements, so much spam spammers, and it was just impossible to use. And that's why we believe that to complement our offering of free transactions, we also introduced the system that is designed to differentiate spam and malicious actors from legit users. And we believe that having all the on-chain data analyzed and indexed in our system, and that's, as I said in the beginning, something that we've been doing for years, we will be able pretty accurately to identify malicious actors and not sponsor transactions for them while still keeping the chain free for everyone else. Having said that, of course, we are not planning to censor anyone. So even if our system does not like you for whatever reason, you can still transact, but in that case, you will just need to use the standard flow where you pay for your own gas, and then you can, of course, still permissionlessly execute any transaction. But supposedly, if you're a legit user and you're not trying to spam the network, you will benefit from actually truly free transactions out there. And the final bit, and the most exciting one, that we're going to bring that on-chain. So every address on the chain will have an on-chain score. And bringing that on-chain means that any other contract will be able to query that contract to also check whether we consider the address to be spammy or not. And then different dApp builders can also potentially leverage that in their system, maybe providing different perks, depending on that score, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, the longer term plan is to make the whole system pretty much open so that it's not us who decides how the rules of the system work, but it's rather an open source project that everyone can contribute to. And hopefully that will make the whole chain experience a better place, because it will be reinforcing good users and sponsoring their transactions while making it quite expensive for spammers to use the chain. So this is how it all looks together, and I guess it gets quite technical at this point, so I'll just let Igor to talk about the technical things.
You want to put your laptop in? You want to do your mic first? Cool, yeah. Just so we avoid switching laptops, I'll first talk about, before we go into the technicalities of Zero Network, what we're doing. So this is going to be his demo. We'll do that later. But what we're offering here for hackers, a lot of you might not know, but under the hood, we have a REST API called the Zerion API that we built. So if any of you uses wallets like Rainbow Wallet, like Uniswap, even like, you've connected your wallet to Wallet Connect before, all of the data that you see in Rainbow, so like the transaction history, the token prices, the kind of like P&L, if the wallet has it, is derived from our API. So under the hood, we have a B2B product, and we've never done this before. This data is expensive. If you've used any other data provider, you've seen how expensive it can be, and costs similar to AWS in like Web 2 world, but for Web 3 world. So what we're doing here is we're giving hackers up to $5,000 in free API credits, and most products that use our API, this is like an annual infrastructure cost for them. I'll give you a quick demo with like a local Python script on how this looks like in your terminal. But before I do that, just like simple details, it's accessible across most networks, most EVM networks, and Solana is coming soon, so we'll actually have Solana transactions and DeFi positions as well. Pretty much, as I'll show you in the schema in a second, you can just go to zerion.io/API after if you want to dive deeper into it yourself. But as you can see, we have very simple README documentation, and our schema pretty much is split into like wallets, where you can see like if you want to get a wallets portfolio, which is what we'll be doing for the demo. If this loads, it's quite easy for you to get any details you want from the portfolio, including like what's the changes over time, what kind of positions you have in your wallet, and split by multiple chains. So I'll not go too deep into the schema here. What I'll rather do is go right into the code. So I've just written a simple Python script using my dev key. And what I've done here is pretty much try to output like within the terminal a table that shows the portfolio value, distribution by chain, and changes over time for our CEO's wallet, for Evgeny's wallet. Let me try to run this here, so I just show you how it works. Literally just calling the function again. And yeah, as you can see, like this is the latest value in his wallet. He doesn't have anything staked, locked, or borrowed, so he's not done any like other DeFi transactions, but he has like a total value of around $86,000 as of right now. split across multiple chains. So all this data can be useful for you if you want to build like a wallet app, if you want to build a social app, really if you want to build anything that has context of the user's on-chain data and transactions. And what I've done here, as you can see, is only the wallet's portfolio endpoint. Similar to this, if the possibilities for you guys can include, NFT collections. If you want to have like a nice UX that's like, listing people's NFTs by multiple chains, and similar to what you see in Zerion or MetaMask or any other wallets, you could do that as well. And finally, we actually have another endpoint that a lot of people don't know about, but that's really the swap aggregator. So this is, I'd say, like not too unique. A lot of people have swap aggregators, but what we do is we're an aggregator of aggregators. So if you look at 1inch or 0x, they call themselves as DEX aggregators, but we're almost like a meta aggregator because we aggregate them. So you can call up to like pretty much any DEX and meta DEX that we support within one call. So yeah, take a look. I'll be in my booth. That's the big booth with the red flashy sign, so it's hard to miss. And let me know if you have any questions later. I'll give it over to Igor for his part of the demo. Do you need USB-C? Okay.
So I'll try to quickly explain how our paymaster works. How do we enable free transactions on our network? So this is the scheme, and currently the part that is responsible for sponsoring the transactions is off-chain. So for those who use our wallet, we just check if this user, like a legit user, and can we sponsor this transaction, and provide a special signature like back to our wallet. And in case the transaction is going to be sponsored, the transaction is sent like on chain as a special type of transaction, which is like ZK stack specific. And after that, the execution goes to the main smart contract on ZK stack chains, which is called bootloader. It calls our paymaster smart contract, which is checking if the signature from on-chain DNA service is valid. And if it is, it just pays fees for the user, and the execution of the transaction continues as a normal transaction. So I also wanted to do a quick overview of our docs page. So the most important thing, I guess, is like network information, where you can find everything, like all URLs, RPCs, chain ID, and everything that you need. There is also like short instructions on like how to deploy smart contract to Zero network and what's the differences. Also, exit full screen mode. Also, we have breach.zero.network, which allows you to breach Ethereum from Sobolev testnet, as Zero is currently L2 rollup for Sobolev testnet. You will need that, like builders will need that, because in order to deploy smart contracts, you will still need to have Ether. And explorer.zero.network is like simple explorer provided by ZK Stack as well. And also, very important part for interacting with the Zero network is that we've recently added developer testnet mode in our wallet. You will have to enable that to make experience better for interactions on Zero network. And let me show you example of how it works. So I'm using like completely new wallet without anything. I've checked, I've chosen the Zero testnet in chain selector. I've switched to testnet mode. Now I just gonna connect the wallet. Yes, it's connected. And I like the simple example that we have is just like minting several ERC20 tokens. And you can see that network fee is free because our wallet is eligible for this free transaction. We just send it. Yeah. That's it. So here we show that it's a mint transaction, that we've received 1,000 docs tokens, and Yeah, in like several seconds, it should appear in portfolio. Yeah, so it's here. Yeah. Do we want to show anything else? Okay. Do you need a laptop for that?
I'm just going to complete the slides. See this? Yeah. Yeah, so I guess like now some of you must be asking, this is cool, but like what can I do with this? You know, why gasless or why API? How does it all fit together? I'll just give you some examples of like, I guess, requests to build so you have an idea of what you could do. So on the API, earlier I told you, any consumer app, literally anything that you're doing in the hackathon that involves like wallet data or on-chain data, you could use it for. And for the gasless chain, right? I think what we're looking for is, we've just launched our testnet. It's the first testnet that's live on Elastic Chain, on ZK's Elastic Chain setup. Think of like Superchain with Optimism, but it's ZK's variant. And we have a few dApps that are going live. So think of like DEXs, like Dodo or 1inch. We have like, you know, NFT marketplaces. We have social apps. But what we're really looking for is like unique use cases that can take benefit of like this spam, like Sybil, sort of on-chain DNA component and the gasless component. So like what would a user want? Like think of like a simple onboarding app. You want to onboard your grandma to like crypto. They don't need any, you know, gas fees. They could now do something unique or interesting. That would be cool. Or think of something, you know, like that's a social app. Maybe something that's like a, you know, tracker for a gaming tournament that like needs, you know, people to like upload their scores in real time. And it's not really a spam use case, but it's something that involves like, you know, gasless component to it. Else it would be really expensive. That's what we're looking for around that. And if you want to like, you know, work together with some of the partners we have going live, I can share that list with you guys as well later. So you can kind of like maybe incorporate other hackathon bounties and farm multiple bounties on top. Because I think a lot of people would be doing that regardless. And all the documentation, make sure you scan this QR code or just take a quick photo. This is pretty much everything that Igor has explained earlier. And the last part that I wanted to detail here is that it's really easy, especially if you find a dApp that's currently live on ZK Sync or any of the other ZK Stack chains, to clone that and pretty much, you know, have it live and ready to use on a Zero. So that's something to save you some time. Instead of building it up from scratch, you can also just look at what exists out there. Maybe you can do something to improve it a little bit and make it a novel use case. Yeah, that's generally what we're looking for. If you guys have any questions, like I said earlier, find the three of us around. We'll be kind of like moving around the space and, you know, talking to all of you individually. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks.